The last 2 weeks I'm testing the most unique pedals ever produced, with very complex design and tons of adjustability specifically created to take the maximum from the sim racing world. And I say sim racing world because I haven't seen this approach in any real car, but that is not bad thing. Let's see what is so unique in this engineering and if there is any advantage at all. The throttle pedal. The heel rest, the heel support, and the pedal plate slave my feet in fixed position, and now the entire mechanism follow my ankle movement. The question is, are there any benefits from that? And I have to say, absolutely yes. In the world of the last tenth of the second per lap, everything matters, and here is the first big potential in this movement. In normal pedal movement, there is that friction between the pedal plate and the shoes or socks, and sometimes when they stuck together, because in the mid-race we sweat and the friction increase, we doesn't have any more that comfortable control. And that sometimes really drives me crazy. Before I show you the infinite possibilities in that throttle pedal, I asked you in the last video for questions, and let's start with those set from Ignorant Bliss. First, I love the sarcastic choice of your nickname, buddy. Ignorance sometimes can be bliss indeed. That pedals now look like they are attached to your feet. With the rest plate paying fit to them, do they feel attached? Let me show you some extremes so you can really understand that leg movement. If I push, for example, the heel rest plate deep, the heel support travel movement will be less. In those settings, the entire leg movement is almost equal with the normal pedals. As you can see from this camera angle, my knees movements are just equal. The main difference is the touch point between the pedal plate and my shoes remains absolutely static. That friction, sliding movement we get from normal pedals which change from different socks and shoes is totally gone. That means it gives much more comfort in the movement and chance for more precise inputs. Now, let's move to the other extreme. What happens when we pull the heel rest out? The rest plate moves the heel out where the movement is much bigger. Check how different movement we have in the knee. In those settings, the knee remains almost static in the same position. Those settings now feels different, isolating more my upper muscles and my knee and loading more my ankle. I don't suggest those settings for normal use, but if you have some severe injury in your knees, you can explore those different options and see what really works for you. That being said, on the question from our fellow sim racer, I can say they don't feel alien in use, they feel instantly more comfortable, and in long-term use, I can see the potential for more precise inputs. Let's see now the entire construction and all the different settings. From bottom to top, to support plates which can be attached directly to the aluminum slots with 4 holes for different positions. Then we have the middle part which is static too, to which is attached the front bump stop, the load cell, the spring support and the pedal bump stop. The spring support have 6 different slots and the travel of the pedal can be adjusted from this part here. Now, we have that stop bumper on the brake pedal too, and I will show you later how you can get full advantage of this and set your pedal in the way you will never lock your tires again, but let's finish first with the throttle. Let's move to the moving part. 2 big pieces of steel to which are attached the heel support plate, the heel rest plate and the pedal plate. On the rear side is attached the spring system into those huge channels, and we can move the piston tools free, just pulling up or pushing down by hands. Those teeth will secure the piston and we can easily change the feeling of the pedal for our personal like, and also set some preload of the spring itself. The 2 pedal plates are also very adjustable in height, angle and distance. Honestly, with that freedom, everyone can find the best possible position no matter how limited you are from the rig you use. In comparison to other pedals, this load cell is inversed and the pedal movement pull the spring and add tension to the cell instead of pushing like those here, for example. I don't see any advantage or disadvantage from that, and I guess it's just engineering choice because of the ergonomics. Now, what about the brake pedal? The first concern I see from your questions is how the brake pedal feels in such a movement. As Tejano Brumi pointed in his post, do we have to use different muscle group to control the pedal? Most of the users of high-end pedals know brake is very hard to push, and we use our upper muscle, which is very strong, and we actually extend our leg to move the pedal. Well, those here can be set in the exact same way. If I push the rest plate far from my heel and not slave my ankle movement to the pedal movement, I will operate with the same muscles as I do on the other traditional sets. That being said, before I show you what other possibilities we have, let me ask you something. How many of you have tested to brake left foot on your old car? I'm sure the first left foot brake experience was not perfect and you almost kissed your steering wheel. At least that's what happened to me. The reason for that is our left foot is used to press the clutch, and the clutch pedal have deep movement, and to be fully pressed with it touched the heel from the support point. Using that muscle memory on road car brake system doesn't work. My first rally car had very sensitive brake pedal, and on top of that had panic brake system, which was even more sensitive, and in combination with turn it off ABS was nightmare to control, and learning left foot braking was absolutely necessary. What I realized was to have precise and smooth control, I needed to keep my heel down and have that support point to execute the perfect movement. Now, if you want to test that on your road car, please make sure there is no cars around and do it in slow speed. Keep your heel down and don't detach it from the support point. You will be surprised how much more precise control you're gonna have. What I want to say with that story is not every brake system needs 100 kilograms of brake pressure, and not every race car have short brake pedal travel. In sim racing, we used to enjoy short travel, stiff pedal for a reason, and that is the muscle memory. In real cars, we have very rich information from the G-forces, which can be up to 2-3 G in cars with decent downforce, and sure, some muscle memory is involved, but we adjust our inputs in real time, getting instant feedback from those G-forces. What we don't take in count is those G-forces are not constant value, they change in the braking zone, and that changes the weight of our body, our legs, and our brain must calculate in real time and adjust the movement. Having that concept and knowledge, what are the actual differences in operating brake pedal in real car and SimRig, let's see what we can achieve with this pedal set. If, for example, you want hard pedal and you want to operate with your upper leg muscle detaching your heel from the ground, just press the heel rest and don't slave your heel. Push the plate in and you will have that traditional movement like the rest of the high-end pedals on the market. If you want to have that more precise movement working with your ankle, and maybe you want to isolate your knee movement because of some old trauma or whatever reason, you can slave your heel with the rest plate, and again, you can achieve anything in between those two extremes. Let's see how this pedal operates and what other options do we have included in that base kit to achieve the required feeling for our personal like. The construction of those two pedals looks very similar from the first look, but the load cell, which is Mavin 200 by the way, operate in completely different fashion. You remember, the throttle load cell read that pull pressure from that little spring, and that spring pressure strongly depends on the pedal travel. If we limit the travel of the pedal, we limit the available range of operation. Less travel equal less available scales. That is not problem for the throttle, but will be really bad for the brake sensor. Some people want to feel the pedal hard like they're pushing against the wall, and others prefer soft pedal with long travel, but in both cases we want the entire reading range of the load cell itself. Let's see how that is achieved here. The load cell is attached to the mounting part of the pedal with those two support brackets, which end with this bumper here. That part doesn't move at all. As we press the pedal, we add tension to the second part through that system here, and this part on the other side is attached to the load cell as well. Basically, this middle part moves and adds some flex to the load cell, which read the pressure. When we change the elastomers or spring or change the angle of the piston, with less travel of the pedal, we can achieve the same amount of pressure without losing single scale of the reading range of the load cell itself. really clever engineering. And those two bumpers here limit the movement of the middle part. The rest of the settings are the same. You can move the pedal plate and the support plate and virtually achieve any position you want. The three standard options which came with the kit are 2 sets of elastomer pieces, 5 soft for road car, 4 medium for GT, and 1 spring for GT Sport. They all have different properties and I enjoy them all, but I'm not going to tell you which was my favorite, as this is very subjective experience and it's always better to test and decide for yourself. To change those, take the 2 bolts, take the plate, and be careful to not lose the spacers, which limits the compression of the elastomers. Choose your set and put all the parts back together. The manual is actually really good, so if you feel lost, you can find everything you need to know in there. The software is also very simple and intuitive. Add some dead zone, create some curves if you enjoy curved inputs, and you are ready to go. Another very interesting set we can achieve with this complex design is with this pump stop here. We can adjust the travel of the pedal movement, but as we know, most of the cars start locking the tires or activate the ABS system at around 85% input, and if you are not very precise with your leg, any lock or ABS activation can wear or overheat the tires and extend your braking distance. Once you choose your favorite pedal settings and calibrate the inputs in-game, you can physically limit your pedal input, moving up this pump stop to the point you will stop locking on the heavy braking zone. I know we can do this through the iRacing software, tweaking some numbers in the file, but I'm not aware how we can achieve that in other sims. Tani Suzuki explained that in a very nice video, which I will share in the description below. But anyway, it is fun, we can physically achieve that on the pedal set itself. Let's go back to your questions. Steven Carmichael asked, those heel rests that move with the pedals seems weird. Have you ever tested the real car with such? Do you notice them while driving? Seems like too many parts might get loose over time. Those are really good questions, Steve, and I'm sure many others will relate to those. First, do they feel weird? For the throttle, if you set the heel rest deep and your heels sit deeply on the support where the movement is small, the feeling is very familiar, but the comfort and the precision are instantly noticeable because there is no friction between your feet and your pedal plate. I haven't seen this concept in a real car, and I'm not sure how this concept will work with all the shakes and G-forces. Those are designed for sim racing to provide maximum comfort and precision. On the question, can those many parts get loose over time? Actually, there are not many moving parts, and for the adjustable pieces, the bolts are very strong with rubber in the screws, and once they are tied together, they seem to be really secure. Some of those places which have extra pressure, as the pedal plate and the elastomer/spring system, have those teats which actually take the load and don't rely just on the bolts. I personally believe there is no danger to get loose over time. Sirs Rosendahl asked, the brake pedals seems to have a lot more travel than I'm used to. Are they quite soft? Well, in those settings I used them in that video, they were soft with very long travel indeed, but as you see, you can make them like a brick with very short movement without losing single scale from that 200 kg muffin cell. We have absolute freedom here. Baron asked, will the heel support movement throw you off if you drive real car? I believe if they are set properly, they become just like a normal pedals, but a little bit more comfortable without that friction between foot and plate, and honestly, it's always much easier to adapt to real car because of the rich information through the G-forces. Alpha 007 asked, are they over-engineered? Thus some pedals can provide equal feeling, performance, durability, but with more simple design. There are many great pedals on the market which will get the job done, and in fact I will immediately start testing another pedal set with much more simple design and very high quality build, but the R7 has something really unique with that heel movement, and with that adjustability I believe they will completely satisfy every enthusiast who enjoy the freedom of tweaking. Giorgio asked, it seems on the brake pedal the heel rest doesn't touch at all when you press the pedal. Do you think you will adjust that? For my personal like, I prefer to brake with my upper leg muscles. If the pedal rest touch my heel, my ankles start following the pedal movement, and I personally prefer the more traditional way. Of course, it's worth trying with the rest attached if you want to isolate your knee movement with softer settings. That will be personal preferences. Final thoughts. Stainless steel, rock solid, super quiet in use, looks like over-engineering, but every part really exists for a reason. As Timo Koskela, the creator of this complex engineering set, with sim racing getting more and more popular, particularly with those 24-hour special events every month, little details like comfort and precision will make the difference for many drivers, and I personally believe he is achieving that. With that price, of course, of €1,045 for the two pedals and €1,246 with the clutch, those are one of the most expensive non-hydraulic set pedals on the market, but I'm sure for some of you will worth the price. For me, it's time to put those beauties in the pack and send them back to Timo, and I hope I give you a good idea about this set and you will have better picture in your mind if those are for you or not. And as always, don't form opinion just from my experience, and I'm sure other owners of this product will share some knowledge too, so make sure you read the comments and make further research before you take your decisions. And Timo, kiitos for the beautiful experience, buddy. From me, you really take 10 points out of 10 for the idea and the execution. Absolutely outstanding, buddy. Now it's time to move to the next project. See you in the next one.